Have you ever wished you could speak English like a native? Scarlett did too, and she was determined to make that dream a reality. Follow her exciting journey as she transforms from a shy, uncertain English speaker into someone who speaks confidently and naturally, just like the natives. Can she do it? Let's find out. Hi there. My name is Scarlett, and I come from a country where we don't speak English as our first language. Ever since I was a little girl, I have always been fascinated by the way native English speakers talk. Their words flow so smoothly, their accents sound so beautiful, and they speak with so much confidence. As I grew older, I realized that if I wanted to achieve my dream of studying in an English-speaking country, I needed to learn to speak English like them. I wanted to sound natural, confident, and expressive, just like the people I admired on TV shows, in movies, and even during online videos. I would picture myself walking through the streets of a foreign city, chatting easily with people, and expressing my thoughts clearly without hesitation. That image inspired me to start my journey of becoming fluent in English. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I was ready to work hard and achieve my dream. Struggling with pronunciation, vocabulary, and idioms. When I first started learning English, I thought I was doing fine, but then I noticed something. My pronunciation wasn't clear. People often asked me to repeat words because they didn't understand what I was saying. For example, I would say tree when I meant three, and it would confuse them. I also struggled with vocabulary. I knew basic words like happy or good, but when natives used words like ecstatic or fantastic, I didn't always know what they meant. Even idioms like it's raining cats and dogs made me pause. I would think, wait, where are the cats and dogs? It was all so confusing. Feeling frustrated. It was hard not to feel frustrated. I wanted to express myself, but my words didn't come out the way I imagined. I remember talking to a tourist once, and they kept looking puzzled. That made me nervous, and I started to lose confidence. I felt like I was stuck, and it seemed impossible to sound like them. Watching English movies and noticing differences. One day, I decided to watch an English movie. It was one of those popular ones where the characters talk a lot. At first, I thought, oh, this will be easy. I've learned English in school, but as I listened, I realized something surprising. The way native speakers talk was so different from what I had learned in textbooks. They used phrases like, "What's up?" instead of "How are you?" and their sentences flowed smoothly. The tone, speed, and rhythm of their speech were nothing like the robotic way I read in my lessons. That's when I understood. To speak like a native, I had to learn more than just words. I needed to learn how they speak. Scarlett's decision to learn. I was determined to improve my English. I no longer wanted to feel shy or worried when I spoke to others. I decided it was time to take real steps to become better. First, I set a clear goal for myself. I wanted to speak English like a native speaker within 1 year. It was a big goal, but I knew I could do it if I worked hard and stayed focused. To figure out how to start, I spent time researching. I watched videos and read articles about how people learn languages quickly. I noticed that many successful learners use similar strategies. For example, they practiced speaking every day, listened to native speakers, and didn't give up, even when they made mistakes. By learning what worked for others, I felt ready to make my own plan and begin my journey to speaking English like a native. The power of listening. Scarlett began to realize how important listening was for speaking English well. She decided to make it a habit to listen to English every day. I started with English podcasts that people recommended. At first, it was hard because the speakers talked fast and I couldn't understand everything. But I didn't give up. I listened to them again and again, trying to catch more words each time. Slowly, I got better at understanding. Songs became Scarlett's next favorite tool. I chose simple English songs with clear words. I sang along and tried to match the way the singer pronounced the words. It was fun, and it helped me learn the rhythm of English speech. Audiobooks also became part of her daily routine. Listening to stories was exciting. The narrators had such clear and expressive voices. I could hear how they used their tone to make the story come alive. I would pause the audio and repeat sentences, mimicking their tone and flow. It felt like practicing with a teacher right at home. Scarlett noticed that the more she listened, the more natural her English sounded. She wasn't just learning words, she was learning how to say them the way native speakers did. Listening really taught me that English is not just about speaking, but also about hearing how it's spoken. This daily practice gave Scarlett confidence, and soon she found herself speaking more smoothly and naturally. Listening had unlocked a new way for her to grow in English. Practicing pronunciation with technology. Scarlett uses apps to improve pronunciation. Scarlett wants to sound more like native English speakers. To do this, she decides to use helpful apps like Pronunciation Coach. These apps help her practice how to say words correctly. They listen to her and tell her if she's saying the words right. Scarlett loves using her phone to practice because it makes learning fun and easy. Every time she tries a new word, the app gives her feedback on how to say it better. Scarlett practices tricky sounds. English has some sounds that can be hard for non-native speakers. Scarlett knows that some sounds are tricky, so she focuses on practicing them. For example, the TH sound in the word think is hard because many languages don't have it. Scarlett practices saying think, this, and that until her mouth gets used to making the H sound. Another sound she finds tricky is the R sound in words like world and bird. Scarlett works hard to pronounce these sounds correctly so that people understand her better. Scarlett records her voice to compare. To see how much she's improving, Scarlett starts recording her voice. She uses her phone or tablet to record herself saying sentences in English. After she records herself, she listens to how she sounds and compares it to native speakers. She plays the same sentence from a video or app and tries to match their pronunciation. This helps her hear the difference between her voice and the native speaker's voice. By doing this often, Scarlett gets better and more confident in speaking English. Learning idioms and slang. I bought a book on English idioms and expressions. I remember feeling excited as I picked up a book full of idioms and expressions in the bookstore. I had heard some of these phrases in movies and TV shows, but I didn't always understand what they meant. The book was filled with fun and interesting phrases, and I couldn't wait to learn them. Some idioms made me laugh because they didn't make sense literally, but they were used all the time by native speakers. I learned phrases like spill the beans and piece of cake to sound more natural. One day, I came across the phrase spill the beans. I wondered what beans had to do with spilling. But then I read the explanation. It meant to reveal a secret. I couldn't wait to use it. I also learned piece of cake, which means something is really easy. I used these phrases in my conversations with friends, and they thought it was cool how I sounded like a native speaker. I realized that learning these idioms made me sound much more natural when speaking English. My favorite activity became jotting down slang from TV shows. I started watching my favorite TV shows and paying attention to the slang that native speakers used. I would write down cool phrases like, "What's up?" which means hello or "How are you?" or "That's lit," which means something is really great or exciting. Every time I learned a new slang word or idiom, I wrote it in my notebook. It became my favorite activity because it made me feel more connected to the way people actually speak in everyday life. I loved using these new words with my friends and family. They were always impressed with how much more natural my English was. Immersing herself in native content. Scarlett starts watching English TV shows like Friends and The Office. I decided to watch some popular English TV shows because I heard they were great for learning how people actually talk in real life. I chose Friends because it was funny and The Office because it was full of jokes. The characters spoke casually, and their conversations felt easy to understand. Watching these shows made me excited to learn new words and phrases that real people use every day. She picks up conversational phrases and studies cultural references. As I watched the shows, I noticed the characters often used simple but cool phrases like, "What's up?" or "Catch you later." I learned that these phrases are used when people greet or say goodbye to each other. I also found out that TV shows often show things about the culture, like jokes about work or family. I didn't understand all the jokes at first, but I started to look up the meanings of things I didn't get, and slowly, I began to understand the culture behind the words. Her favorite part is imitating characters' accents while watching scenes repeatedly. My favorite part of watching these shows became repeating what the characters said. I would pause the show after a funny or cool line, and then I would try to say it the same way they did, copying their accents and tone. At first, it felt a little funny, but then it helped me sound more natural. I even noticed that my friends started saying, "You sound like you're from the show." That made me feel proud, and I kept doing it, watching the scenes over and over until I could say the lines like the characters. Joining a language exchange group. Joining an online group to practice English with native speakers. One day, I decided to join a language exchange group online. I had heard that this could be a great way to practice speaking English with people who speak it as their first language. I was a little nervous at first because I wasn't sure if my English was good enough, but I knew it was a great opportunity to improve. In the group, I met native English speakers from different parts of the world. They were very friendly and patient with me. I realized that talking to people from different countries would help me learn new words and expressions I hadn't heard before. Learning how to use expressions like, "What's up?" and "How's it going?" In the group, I started hearing phrases like, "What's up?" and "How's it going?" all the time. At first, I didn't understand them very well. But when I asked, the members explained that these were common ways to ask how someone is doing. "What's up?" is like saying hello, "How are you?" and "How's it going?" is another way to ask if everything is okay. I began using these phrases in my own conversations. At first, I was a little shy, but soon I realized that using these expressions made my speech sound more natural and friendly, just like how native speakers talk. The group encourages her to take risks and embrace mistakes. The best part about the group was that everyone was so encouraging. They always told me that making mistakes was okay. In fact, they said it was a normal part of learning a new language. Before I joined, I was afraid to speak because I thought I might make mistakes. But in this group, I felt safe to try new words and phrases. Sometimes I would make mistakes like mixing up words or not pronouncing something correctly. But the group members would gently correct me and give me advice without making me feel bad. They encouraged me to keep speaking, even if I didn't get everything perfect. This made me feel more confident, and I started to speak more freely without worrying too much. Embracing small talk and conversations. Starting casual conversations with tourists. One day, I saw a family of tourists near the park in my city. They were looking around trying to find their way. I felt a little nervous, but I knew it would be a great chance to practice my English. So, I took a deep breath and walked over to them. "Hi, can I help you?" I said with a smile. They looked happy that someone was friendly enough to talk to them. They said they were lost and looking for the museum. I felt proud of myself for starting the conversation, practicing common topics like weather, travel, and food. After I helped the tourists find their way, I started to chat more. I thought about the topics I could talk about with people. "What's the weather like in your country?" I asked them. We talked about the weather in their hometown, and I learned how people in other countries describe it. Later, we started talking about food. They told me about their favorite foods, and I told them about mine. "I love pizza," I said, and they smiled and agreed. It was fun to learn about the differences in food. I also asked them about their travels. "What's your favorite place you visited?" I asked. They told me about some beautiful places I'd never heard of before. It was amazing to learn new things through our chat, learning to sound polite and friendly. I wanted to make sure I sounded polite and friendly, just like native speakers do. So, I started using phrases like, "Could you please tell me where the nearest bus stop is?" Or "Nice meeting you." These small words made me sound respectful and kind. I noticed that when I used polite phrases, the tourists smiled and responded happily. It made me feel more comfortable speaking English. The more I practiced these simple phrases, the better I got at having conversations. By the end of our chat, the tourists thanked me, and I said, "It was nice meeting you. Have a great day." They waved goodbye, and I felt so proud. Speaking English with them made me more confident to try talking to more people in the future. Developing a daily practice routine. Spending 30 minutes shadowing native speakers' dialogues. Every day, I spend 30 minutes listening to conversations by native English speakers. I pick scenes from my favorite movies or shows like Friends and The Office. Then, I repeat what they say, trying to copy their pronunciation and the way they speak. It feels like I'm becoming part of the conversation. At first, it was tricky, but over time, I noticed my speech started to sound more natural. Shadowing helps me sound more like a native speaker, and it's fun because I get to speak like the characters I watch. Practicing tongue twisters to improve fluency. I also practice tongue twisters every day to help my mouth get used to moving quickly when I speak. Some of them are really funny, like "She sells seashells by the seashore" or "Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers." At first, I couldn't say them fast, and I'd mess up, but every time I tried, I got better. Tongue twisters help me speak more clearly, and they make my English sound smoother when I talk. It's also a fun challenge to see how fast I can say them without making mistakes. Writing and practicing short speeches to build confidence in public speaking. To feel more confident speaking in front of others, I write short speeches about topics I like. Sometimes I talk about my favorite movie or what I did over the weekend. After I write them, I practice saying the speech out loud in front of a mirror. At first, I felt nervous and would forget some words. But the more I practiced, the more confident I became. Now, I enjoy speaking in front of my friends and teachers. It's a great way to build confidence and make sure my English sounds clear when I talk to others. Celebrating milestones. Noticing progress. One day, as I was talking to a native English speaker, something amazing happened. They told me, "Wow, Your accent sounds really natural." I couldn't believe it. I was so happy and proud because this was one of my goals, to sound like a native speaker. I had been practicing my pronunciation for so long, and it felt so good to know that my hard work was paying off. It made me realize that I had really improved, gaining confidence for an English debate. After that compliment, I felt much more confident about my English. I decided to join an English debate in my school. At first, I was nervous because I wasn't sure if I could speak well in front of everyone. But remembering what the native speaker had said about my accent made me feel brave. I practiced my arguments every day, and when it was my turn to speak during the debate, I did it without feeling shy. I felt proud of myself for speaking clearly and confidently in front of my classmates. It was a huge step for me, friends noticing my improvement. After the debate, my friends came to me and said, "Scarlett, you sound so fluent in English now. Your sentences are clear, and you speak with so much confidence." Hearing that from them made me feel amazing. I had worked so hard, and now everyone could see how much I had improved. It felt great to know that my friends noticed all the practice and effort I put into learning English. It was a wonderful moment, and I knew that I was getting closer to my goal of speaking English like a native, achieving her goal and inspiring others, fulfilling my dream of studying abroad. I finally made it. After all my hard work, I received an acceptance letter from a university in an English-speaking country. I was so excited because this was my dream. When I arrived there, I felt confident speaking English with everyone. The locals didn't have trouble understanding me, and I could understand them too. I was blending in with native speakers just like I always wanted, inspiring others in my hometown. After I settled in, I got a message from my friend Maya back home. She told me that she had started practicing English, just like I did. I was so happy to hear that. I had shared my learning journey with her, and now she was working hard to follow the same methods. Soon, other friends reached out to me, asking for tips. It felt amazing to know that I was inspiring others to learn and improve just like I did, realizing the power of persistence, practice, and passion. As I look back on everything I had done, I realized how much effort it took to reach my goal. It wasn't easy, but it was totally worth it. I learned that if you keep trying, practice every day, and stay passionate about something, you can achieve it. I didn't give up, even when it was tough. And now I was speaking English just like the natives, studying in another country. I learned that with hard work and a love for what you do, anything is possible. One day, Scarlett finds herself having a smooth conversation with a native English speaker, and for the first time, she feels truly fluent. Her dream is now a reality. As she prepares to leave for her study abroad program, she smiles, knowing her journey has just begun. With her newfound confidence, Scarlett is ready to take on the world and continue her learning adventure. If Scarlett's story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to English Tone. We're here to help you speak like a native too. Stay tuned for more fun and inspiring stories that will boost your English skills.